All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to look at Microsoft Loop. So now Loop has been around for a while. It's actually part of what's called a fluid framework. Maybe a year or two ago, they're trying to find ways to have people collaborate, not only like what we do in teams, but also between applications, right? So you don't have to jump between applications to work on different things. And so that's kind of how Loop originated. And since then, it's starting to really evolve. Loop is actually broken down into three parts, but we're going to only look at one of the parts because right now in our tenant, in the University of Missouri tenant, we only have one part available. So the three parts, there's workspaces. So workspaces, you might think of projects. So it's areas where you can go and to create different workspaces for your projects. And I'm going to show a demo, a promo that Microsoft has available. I'm going to show that here as soon as I get done with this introduction. It is going to show it and explain it a little bit better because they can actually show you the projects and pages, and I don't have those features available to me. So that's workspaces. Pages, so each page is separated into different items, like you might have an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document or some kind of feed. So that's, you break those down into different pages. And then that leads us to the third part, which we're going to talk about a lot today, because we do have this available in our tenant. And again, when I say tenant, that's here at the University of Missouri. But a component it's actually some active thing that's live. And this will make more sense when we get into it. But you can share this active component between different applications, right? So we can create a component and then share that. So currently, what we have available, the components, they've already started to develop it. So you can use these components in a Teams chat. You can create it in a Teams chat. You can use it in Whiteboard, and we'll see that while you can use it in Whiteboard, currently you can't create it there. So you have to create it somewhere else. And you can create it and use it in Outlook on the web. Now, coming soon, they're going to have it for Word, and it's already rolling out for some tenants, some places in Word, but we don't have that available yet. And I believe it's only Word on the web. But they're going to have it coming out for Word, PowerPoint, OneNote, Excel, and others, right? Any of the Microsoft 365 applications. So this would allow you to edit those components in just all these various applications. And you're able to edit it in real time. So it's really collaborative. And you can do it with other people within your organization. So it's a file that's living and breathing. So again, this is what we're going to look at today is the component part of it. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share my computer sound because I'm going to show you this Microsoft promo here. Okay, so let's get this started.
Say goodbye to the frustration of jumping between apps and losing track of documents and ideas. Microsoft Loop transforms the way you work, so you can think, plan, and create together like never before. Loop is made up of workspaces, pages, and components. Let's break it down. Create together with shared workspaces for each of your projects. On the Loop homepage, you can access all your existing workspaces and create new ones. In a Loop workspace, you can bring everything you need for your project together in one place. To kick off a workspace, Loop can even do the searching for you, making it easy to add existing project-related information and organize it into pages. Continue adding to your workspace as your project evolves and organize it the way you want. Loop pages are flexible canvases where you can react, comment, and build on each other's ideas. Notifications help you track the things you care about and focus on what matters, all while staying in the flow of your work. Copilot in Loop helps you ideate and co-create. Get inspired with AI-powered contextual suggestions to transform the way you create together. Don't let app barriers slow your project down. Easily share information with people outside your workspace with Loop components. Components are portable pieces of content that stay in sync across all the places they have been shared, no matter where they are updated. You can share components and create new ones, like lists, tables, paragraphs, and more, across your favorite Microsoft 365 apps. You're always in control because it's easy to see where components were shared and who has access. However you work, wherever you work, Loop enables teams to think, plan, and create together like never before.
All right, so that's their little promo for Loop. So let's just jump in and give ourselves show you a little demo here. I'm just going to go into Microsoft Teams. I've been collaborating here with Lisa. So in the past, when I would create something, the person would not be able to edit my message, right? You can only edit your own messages. So now within Teams here, this is only available under the chat feature. You do not have it available under Teams, under your post. So you'll go to Teams, you'll click on chat, and here I'm going to just have Lisa online here. So I'm going to select Lisa. You'll notice in your chat along the bottom, there is a loop. It's just the fourth one over. So I'm going to create a loop component. And here are the options that I have currently that I can collaborate with Lisa. At this point, I'm going to select a task list. So this is going to be our loop demo today. Okay, this is going to be the title of it. Here it says specific people with this link can edit. If I drop that down, you'll see it's kind of like when you're sharing a file. Currently, I don't have the option to select anyone. I will check with our tenant and see if that's even an option, because that would be nice, because then I would allow people outside the university. So currently, I can only set this for people inside the university or people in this chat. I'm going to go ahead and select anybody within this university. And right now, they can view it. Let's give them edit access, so it makes it more collaborative. And now I'm going to apply that setting. It says people in your organization with the link can edit. For example, I can give it a task name, and I'll just say get lunch. And I can also say, let's just get some drinks. Okay. Now, when I can also assign it at this point, it's going to bring up whoever's in this chat. Right now, it's just Lisa and I. I'm going to leave one of these. I'll go ahead and select Lisa. I can select a date, and if you use Task by Planner to do that, will show up on your task. I'm going to leave the rest of this as empty. Here, I might say, please edit and make suggestions. Okay. Now, I will go ahead and send this. What this does is actually creates a fluid file. And when this gets finished here, here you can see Lisa is now in this. So Lisa can go ahead and start editing this. While she's doing that, I'm going to switch over here to the files. And let's look and see if we can find the loop today. Just now, it's the loop task list 5, and it's just now created. So it's actually a fluid file is what it's currently called. And we'll come back to this. So now within here, I can add more tasks. I could also come down below this. I can make edits here. Let me go to the next line. You'll notice it says type a slash to insert. So I could also hit the slash. And maybe I want to add images. So I get other options. I can stick a divider and clean things up or organize things. There's a progress tracker, voting table, or perhaps person. Let me add a person here, and I can pick up Lisa's information. So this is something, again, if at mentioning Lisa. So this might be something for her. And I'll just might say, great job adding. Okay. So let me give you a little look here. Here's the name of the component. Here is currently in it. I can also say next who has access to this by clicking here. It's saying that Lisa and I currently have access. Now, let's say that I would like to reach out to maybe more people, right? They're not in our chat group, but I want to make this fluid file available to others. I can simply copy this link, copy this component link by clicking that. Now I can go out, and I mentioned this, that it's available in the web. So I can go out to my web email and I can say a new email message, and I can paste this. And now you'll see that this is still active. So if, like Lisa or somebody would go back to that other item and they start typing, you'll see the changes occurring here. So maybe I'm going to send this to somebody else at the university. I'm going to pick on my wife here. And I'm going to let her know this is another training session. But you can see Lisa typing even as I am sending this out. Okay. Delete, so she can delete it. Okay, but I want to show you that I'm going to send this to June. It will add her as somebody who has access to this now. So that's being sent out. When that gets finished, I'll go to my sent items. Let me go ahead and go there now here at the top. And we'll watch for that to show up. So as we're waiting, I will mention that this will be nice once it gets, like, let's say in Word, if you have a Word document, rather than sharing the whole document, maybe you want people to collaborate on a section of your document. You can maybe copy that section, put it into the fluid file, the loop component, and send that out, and other people can collaborate, give you ideas or help brainstorm with you. And then you can put the finishing pieces into your final document. So here is the email that I sent out, this message. I can come up here, see who has access, and now you see that she has been added. So now she has access to it. So I can send that out by email. And one thing I did not mention, let me go ahead and create a new email message. So within email here, I'm now in a new email message. If I go to insert, let me come down here. If I go to insert, oh, sorry, it's under messages. I don't think it's in insert. It is. So it's in either place. So this is a new find for me. So if I go to insert, I do see a loop component here. I can insert it into my email, and under messages, it has it right here. So it does have it in both places. So I could easily start a new component here. Okay, let's say a bullet list, and send this out. So whoever I send this to will have access to this file. Okay. Now, I will back up here just a second. When I create this loop here, it puts it in the files, right? We talked about that. Here's today's fluid file. But the place that it is stored when you create it within a chat, it is in OneDrive. So let me open up my OneDrive. And it is under the Microsoft Teams chat files, okay? It treats it as a chat file. So you'll see this fluid demo file here. Now, if you create it under Outlook, it stores it in a different location. It actually, under OneDrive, it's actually under attachment because it believes it's an email attached file. So if I open that up, here's my fluid files in here. So they're two different locations. So it's a little hard to find now, but hopefully when we have access to the other components, the workspaces and the pages. That'll help us organize our fluid files better. And that's the purpose of these workspaces and pages. I just want to make sure that you're aware of where these files are being stored. Okay. So I've showed you those two, and we'll make sure again to copy this. Another place that people use is Whiteboard. It's a collaborative workspace. So I'm going to simply, and you could do this within a Teams channel. So even though I said you can't start a fluid file here, you can use it within a whiteboard. I'm going to do the whiteboard first within mine and Lisa's chat, but you simply add an application. I'm going to add at the top, hit the plus, and here's whiteboard. If you don't see it there, of course, you can just search for whiteboard. I'm going to add the whiteboard app to our conversation. Right now, I'm not going to post it about it in the chat. We're just going to leave it as whiteboard. That's fine. I'm going to save. I'm going to add that application. So now Lisa and I, there's a bunch of templates here and things that you can do. But what I can do now is I can paste the loop component just by selecting here, hit Control V to paste. So now this loop component is within this whiteboard, and whoever, like Lisa in this case, can click on whiteboard in our chat. She can come in here, or she can do it within our chat as well, or in the email, right? So any changes are happening on my OneDrive, and no matter where this component is, you can make the changes. Here, you can drag it around. The one thing I will say is you can't initiate, you can't create the component from Whiteboard yet. You have to create it right now from Outlook Web Access or from a chat. But you can see Lisa is making the changes, and I'm not sure if she's making them from here or from the chat, but you know, it doesn't matter. I think, oh, she's making it from here. Now, one thing I will tell you, I can only make this bigger. I can't go down. Oh, I can't go down. That is a new feature. Okay. When they first had this, you had to use the scroll, but now you can scroll this and see the whole loop component. So that's new. And again, I can copy the component and I can see who has access here. But I can always come in here, just for example, if I hit a slash here now, I can add a divider, right? I divide the line. So this loop component can really grow, right? The next way that we will use, let me just test this in my, just so you know, I have not checked this in Teams. I'm going to add a whiteboard here. We'll call it whiteboard. It doesn't matter. It's in a different area. It's in SharePoint now. Now let's just see if I can, and see, they're not a member of my team, but I want to see if they could still, I want to share it with my team and still allow these people to have access. So yeah, Lisa is not a member of this team, but she still has access to this loop component. So the people on my team could come in here and they can make changes and collaborate with Lisa, who is not a member of my team. Okay, so Lisa can have access, you know, from the chat, email, so she can still come in here and make changes. So that's a nice feature. Another way of doing this is if you're in a Teams meeting, and I'm going to bring our Teams window, our meeting window over here, just to show you when you, right now I'm sharing my screen and I can't show you behind the scenes, but when you go to share, there's an option for a whiteboard. So instead of sharing your screen, you can share a whiteboard, and then you can collaboratively in a meeting, share a whiteboard, make that available, then everybody in your meeting can work on this loop component if that's a need, because you can share a whiteboard, paste that into your meeting whiteboard, and collaborate on it. So this is just kind of an introduction of what you can, to give us ideas what all we can do with Loop. So we can use it in a Teams chat, we can use it in a Teams channel, We can use it in Teams meeting because you used a whiteboard. And currently you can use it in your Outlook web, right? And of course, a Teams chat. So this a way to use the same living file, and the file can have many different options, right? You can do task, and as I mentioned, if you use a assigned task, it does work with. It does go into your task by planner to do if you use that. So there's just a lot of things that you can do with this. Lisa, do you have any questions that people might have regarding Loop?
Yes, show me again how you were able to add the whiteboard to your teams.
Yeah. So if I'm going to pick out a different channel. I'm going to go to this DDC5 channel. So any team that you are a member of, if your owner allows you as a member to add an application. So maybe you want to make sure that you have permission to add an application, but I just go to the plus at the top, and it does this. This works the same way as it does in a chat. I hit the plus at the top, and then if you don't see whiteboard there, just search for whiteboard, and it'll pop up here. And then you can post it about, you can let everybody in your team know. I'll deselect that. You can call it whatever you want. And I'll just leave it as whiteboard and say save. So now it'll add that application to your channel, whatever channel you're on for the team. Now, I could come in here and I can add text. I mean, you can just kind of play with whiteboard. But once I have copied the component, so I'll come back here, make sure I have that component. Let's go into the chat. So here is the loop component. I want to make sure I copy the link to place in the whiteboard. So up here on the top right, here's my link. I'll click on that. Gives me a check mark. I've got it copied. Now when I go back to the team, the whiteboard, I'm able just to hit Control V, or however, I can probably right click on this and say paste. It'll paste that component into your whiteboard in your team. And then I can make that as big as I need to be. Of course, with whiteboard, I can just scroll my mouse and zoom in and out because you have an unlimited canvas size.
Okay, so you can add this loop component to either a folder, a channel within your team, or within a chat.
Within a chat, that's right. So if I come back to the chat, you're correct. So up here at the top, you can add whiteboard as an application. But first, of course, if you want to use Loop in a channel, you cannot just create it there. The component has to be created either within Outlook Web Access or within a chat. Once it's created, it'll put it in your OneDrive. Then you can copy that link, and then you could place it in your Teams channel.
Okay. Show me again, if you would please, how you got to it from how it created the folder on your Microsoft Teams chat files. Show me again where you would navigate to that.
Yeah. So down here on the file browser, or on a Mac would be under Finder. So let's go to OneDrive, University of Missouri. So your OneDrive location. Now, if you created it within chat, if you created your component, your loop component, you'll want to look under the Microsoft Teams chat files because you did create it under a chat. So I will open this up. And you can sort, of course, by name, or I sorted by date modified. But this is where I would find it's a .fluid file currently, or you can search by type, right? I can put all my fluid files together. But so you can search by type. I was searching by the date modified, but here's a fluid file. They're talking about possibly making that a loop file. Right now it's fluid because loop came from that fluid structure. But just know for now it is a fluid. The other way, if you create this component from Outlook Web Access, and again, it's only on the web, it'll be under attachments because it sees that file as an attachment in your email. So you'll come to University of Missouri, go to attachments, and here are your fluid files.
So if you were the one that created the fluid file, the loop file, and allowed someone else to have access to it, the other person would still navigate to that fluid file in the same manner. They would be able to see it, yes?
Yes, that's a good question because, and a reminder, because this file actually resides in my OneDrive, I own it. What the fluid file does is point everything back to this file. So we don't have to worry about, coming here and giving rights to it. As soon as I maybe email it out, then the people within our university. So what is really important is when you create the fluid file. So if I come here and create one, again, let's just make a paragraph. When I create it, what I will want to do here, specific people with the link can edit. Right by default, it's only the people in the chat. So you'll want to be sure to come in if you want to be able to collaborate outside the university. Outside just the people in this chat. Be sure to select this option. Okay. And right now they can only view it. So if you want them to collaborate, these are two important steps. But going back to your question, yes, it all goes back to that one file. So we're not changing a bunch of different files and trying to get them all synced together. Everybody's working on this one file at the same time.
So in other words, I wouldn't be able to see it. You would see it when I navigated through File Explorer.
Oh, right, correct. You will not. Yes, if you look under your OneDrive, you will not see it. It's not a file being shared in that method. It's you'll have to get to this interface to do it. Yes.
Yes. So the only way I can access it is through the chat or online versus navigating to it locally.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up because I can, and you might, if you see, at least you can check, if you see this up here, Loop Demo today, if you click on that, it actually takes you out to the Microsoft 365. This is the place where it's stored. It's stored in the cloud. So you could always come here. Do you see that, Lisa?
Well, when I go there, it takes me to a login. Like I have to use my credentials to get there.
So it's actually going out to my OneDrive site, and you should be able to get in there.
The MFA will be required.
Okay. So since you have access, good. So you can go out to the SharePoint site where it is actually stored. Okay. In this case. So you don't navigate this way. You do click on, I'm really glad you brought that up. You can click right here on the name of the file instead of being in your file browser. You click on it here because in my file browser, it is actually pointing back to the share. It's in the cloud. So you can actually get directly to it by clicking on this, and it will take you out here, and you can edit it in the cloud.
Yes. So you created it, so it's going to reside locally for you.
Right.
I can access it, but I have to go through the cloud in order to get to the actual component. That way through SharePoint or through the various options through chat or through the Teams channel, depending on where it was created.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me just share this last piece of information. I'm going to go out to doit.missouri.edu. And if you scroll down here, this Division of IT, scroll down here to training, you'll see this website with some of our training options. Here's our Teams Talk Tuesday. You can also, if you'd like to book training specifically for your area or your group, you can select this and book a time that's convenient for you and your group. And if you choose Microsoft 365 training, it will have an updated list of training that we have coming up. And here's today's. It looks like on Tuesday, we'll go back to Teams, and there's some other training here. And then here's a link here. It says the tutorials here for pre-recorded trainings like what we have now. It'll be posted here on Percipio. There's also a YouTube channel. Another way to reach us is right here. You can just email us at mudoittraining@missouri.edu. We thank you guys for coming out, and we hope that you found this beneficial, and we look forward to seeing you at the next training.